Welcome, survivors, to this, the fourth and final part of the Samurai's cultural exploration of the heart of British brewing, the 2018 Burton Doubles episodes of the Madaxeman.com podcast. By now you'll know that already that the Samurai are topping the table as we head into the last round, but it's still all to play for as the sword and spear armed Japanese warriors come face to face with Sri Lanka's finest, the Tamil Indians, together with their mighty elephant corps. This is Game 4, the final reckoning. We are also sticking with the hipster beer themed chat, which is equally important to the games, and we are rounding off the evening with some very intriguing brews indeed. Those of you who are listening carefully on headphones may also make out the occasional post-curry burp, sneaking past the sensors and onto the soundtrack. However, whatever format or device you're streaming, listening or even watching this podcast through, thank you for making it this far with us again as we crack open some tinnies, roll some bones, and invite you to join us in our final session of Battle and Banter on the Madaxeman.com Burton podcast. Okay then, this is it. It's Game 4. We're top of the table. We've had a fantastic Sunday lunch.
Play 3, 1-3.
1-3. Fantastic army. It's looking good on table. And now, to wrap it up in the final game, it's the Belleville Brewing Company's Picnic Session IPA 4.4 ABV. So this is a summer beer to take us to the depths of winter. And we'll just open the can. Let's share it. We'll just share it between the two. So we're liking it. Ooh, this is actually clear for an IPA. It's fairly lagery, isn't it? In look, light golden colour.
Light bitter.
Yep.
Smells hoppy.
Smells hoppy. Slurp more for you. Oh, there we go.
Tastes hoppy.
Tastes hoppy. Let's try some. That's a nice IPA. Yeah, that's a light, quaffable. Well, it's a session IPA. And let's get into the last session of the weekend.
Come on, we play 3-1-3.
We play 3-1-3. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh, invincible.
Samurai, a wonderful army, best army the world's ever seen. So here we are, and you're looking at the Samurai, you're looking at Tamils, we're looking at the screen, and the big question that jumps out is, would you really pay 125 quid for 184 1/300 scale Arab Israeli vehicles on eBay? It's tricky, isn't it? Because maybe they're painted nicely, but
No, I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. No, that's quite a lot. As a starting price as well. That's yeah. Never mind. Bid now. So here we've got the Tamils, which is very obvious. It's elephant, impetuous blade, elephant, impetuous swordsman, elephant.
Looking at the Tamil list, this is how that worked out. I looked at the list, thought, what's the maximum amount of elephants they can have?
Yeah.
There'll be that amount of elephants.
That'll be that amount, yeah.
And then some medium foot.
300 points, it was like 9, was it?
It was a large amount of trunkage was going on.
Enormous, wasn't it? So, so we put a hill down, which is a little bit unusual.
Dropped in the right place.
Dropped in the right place. We got it in a good forward zone. That gives us a big plus. We put some fields down because we owned them. Or did we? No, I think this was agriculture, wasn't it? So, or whatever the terrain type is, that's agriculture. So there's not that much option for difficult terrain. So if we chose that, we got the plantation that sort of would be a bit more difficult, possibly. No, that was going to stop their shooting.
Yeah.
So we thought they might have some bowmen. So we just sat back, and to my mind, this was brace for impact.
Yeah, brace for impact.
So we're going to wheel forwards, big long line,
collapse on the flanks.
And we were probably better piece for piece, but the elephants are 9 elephants is just devastating. World Cup. And their army wasn't going to be wide, which is the case. I ended up with the cavalry on the right this time, and then that same heavy and medium command, and potentially nibble away at the flank with the cavalry and erode them a bit.
And on my flank, it's very similar to most games. It's sort of like it was on my flank, they were weaker, so we looked to push up on our flank, do the business on the flank, and then wheel into chop up the centre again.
Yeah. And I think on this one, with the knights, we pulled back in the centre and in the previous game actually we pulled back in the centre to neutralise their better troops. But this one, they were the same all the way along the line, pretty much. Yeah. So there was no real point there seemed no real point in hanging back. There was going to be a fight. We might as well, as long as we got 3 rounds of shooting in, that's the best we were going to do.
And I think it's also a case of we set up slightly behind the hill, so you had to push past the hill to hit our main line.
True. So we had a little bit of a advantage here potentially. Once these guys are on the hill, they've got to come into this space. There might be a small attack there, but otherwise it was very much brace for impact and push the cavalry here. You create 2 flanks, brace for impact, see how it goes. So let's see how it went. So this was you up the hill, and yeah, they actually, we're talking about they're going to come on in a big line, but they didn't quite. They hung back opposite you.
He
sort of.
Again, I think it was one of those reading the rules and deciding, because there's 3 elephants coming up me, but deciding that he didn't want to charge the elephants up the hill, which was probably the correct decision, to be honest.
Probably was, I guess, yeah. So I suppose that's sometimes I think hills don't look that intimidating, but they are pretty strong. Was your position too strong for him to attack, even with elephants, or?
No, I don't think it was too strong, and he could have done, but I think it's the right decision. Why go charging up the hill with the elephants, where right next door he's still got loads of other elephants who could hit our line?
True.
Without us having the +1 on the hill.
So the game would be decided not on the hill, effectively. So here we are, very big solid line. We've stepped forward a little bit, but it doesn't really make any odds. And we're just trying to shoot. And with all these elephant armies, as always, they screen the elephants with some light foot, which limits the number of shots that we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Not all our troops are bow armed, so that limits it as well. So it's going to be 3 shots at the most.
Even then, the ones that aren't bow armed, the heavy foot are 4, so they should be able to sort of like clench very good, take the initial charge, and then start grinding down.
And away we go. Cavalry, nice shot of them, fairly open up against the wall. We were using the wall as the edge of the table, so we managed to use it again, but it wasn't narrowing the table width, because actually we didn't want the table any narrower.
That one model tree really cost £6.50.
I think it might have been £12 for 3. Something like that. Possibly not £6.50 each, but some of the other ones cost more than that. But the other ones look lovely. But that's what happens in Japan. So I think the first part of the game where you think, ooh, this could be a bit tricky. My light horse were up here trying to do a few harassing shots, see if we could pick off.
Because his army sort of like runs out.
It just runs out. There's nothing.
Table. So
we were trying to pick off the light foot in front of the elephant with some light bow shooting. To do that, you need to get in charge range. He charged. He rolled long, and all of a sudden, he's closer to my bowman than I really wanted, or the swordsman as it was on this end, and that was like, oh, this is going to be quick, isn't it? There's no messing about here. So you're up the hill here.
Mm-hmm.
Happy? He's coming forward a bit. Did you think he was going to have a go?
No, I didn't think he was going to have a go, because his advanced echelon is in the centre. He's already gone past, but that does, however, give the advantage of, again, he's got to advance past us, so he's going to have a weak end to his line.
Okay.
That he's got to put some troops in somewhere.
So most of the line is still short of us. We're still shooting, but this block that had chased off our light horse and gone long, they're in straight away. I'm looking, thinking, is this too bad? Actually, it is. The elephant has obliterated someone at impact.
Was there a chap there?
There was a chap there. I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm saying that. Let's roll back. Look, there's a chap there. The elephant's hit him. I've lost an elite samurai to someone with no overlaps.
That's unlucky, but there's no legislation for that, is there?
Then swordsman against swordsman. I'm elite. I've gone down 2 hits. Bit awkward. And that's your first 2 combats. That we've got a gap at the end of our line. But, swings and roundabouts. It's the rest of it could go in our favour. We've done a bit of shooting damage on the elephant. So, not entirely bad. Oh, dear me. So straight away, this is more in the centre, because that's we're talking the medium foot. Oh, we've got some of the heavy foot here, possibly a couple of the medium foot. That's 2 more units evaporated at impact. Now, the elephants have got furious charge, so if they win, they get an extra hit. But that still means they're beating us by at least 3.
Yeah, that's.
And we've got an overlap there. That's tricky. They're beating us by 3s and 4s. But these things will even out.
Still in the game.
Still in the game. Still in the game.
And look at that.
Look at that. This gap where his army runs out. we've turned the flank with the cavalry. We managed to get into the flank of this little Death Star formation that's protecting his flank. Spin those swordsmen down. Hit them in the open with cavalry. 2 overlaps. You're going to cause a hit on the elephant. Suddenly, this whole formation could evaporate, and then suddenly there's 5 cavalry on the flank. Here, you actually got bored. You come well.
It's not so much got bored.
You've got a target.
Well, no, because they're impetuous foot, so I was actually giving him his impetuous, but he's going to hit your line in the solid line, so I'm moving them forward to fight them there. So,
okay, so we're
I'm
creating
trying
an overlap
to go
with the monks,
past
aren't we?
the flanks, so I can start rolling it up from this side.
You've got reserve as well to
got reserve. I've got an overlap here because in front of the hill we hung back, so it was do all right there, and I can start rolling it up from this end of the line as well.
That would be good. Getting the overlap with the monks on the left of our line would be tremendous. So here, everybody, we've lost a few, but they're still not in. We're getting a few rounds of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
We've knocked 2 off that elephant there. Not many hits. Not everybody shoots, but not many hits, and this really is the brace for impact moment. It's not gone well so far, but we're owed some good dice here.
We'll see how it goes.
Oh dear. Big red crosses. So that 2 hits down elephant was going into, what was he going into? Medium foot, elite swordsman, and wipes them out in 1 turn with a -1. He'd been damaged. Those swordsmen going to someone identical but elite wiped him out. The elephant, I think that's already maybe won earlier. So suddenly look at this isolated island.
Those 2 crosses, they were 2 6-1s in a row.
They were 2 6-1s.
What can you do?
What can you do? It's all gone. Here's the elephant charge. And then were these elite swordsmen from the enemy army? Were they the same as yours? So. Maybe not.
But again, it's the same deal that you had, just
boom.
3-1s.
Boom. Explode. And then, but at least the Ashigaru look nice. They might get another go.
Yep.
And it's a desperate struggle. It's a desperate struggle. A close. Oh no, it's not a desperate struggle. The enemy have pushed forwards. Our flanks are gone. This is. I was already now in a mode of let's see how many casualties we can inflict because we're going down.
Yeah.
That was it. This wasn't a recoverable situation. After 4, 5, 6 holes punched in the line at first contact, and when their line is so wide, we've got no reserves.
Yeah.
Or not enough reserves.
And on the plus side, it means we can be halfway down the M6 by.
That could be true. That would be true. And we were getting absolutely crushed. Here's your men. What's left of them, sort of making an opportunity.
The weird thing is, after that initial, oh my god, we're out of this game, things turned round, and we took all those casualties. But then we could start developing and we could start fighting because his armies did have weaknesses. So we started doing better. But the problem was we were so far behind.
We were in such a hole, really, weren't we? Absolutely. Because we're on what, turn 2 or 3 of combat, and we've got the horde in the front line already. This is 4 turns into the game. That's just not good. And look, there's a massive hole punched through our line there by elephants and swordsmen. These people on the end are double overlapped. They're injured. They're going down. I think I can only see 1 samurai unit there with no markers on it, no hit points. Everything else is being crunched. They picked up hits as well, but the overlaps they've got are huge.
I think we can see how this battle's going.
Here, on the cavalry flank, where we were supposedly rolling up that isolated Death Star, it now appears that I've only got 2 cavalry left, and it's still there after having tried to hit it in the flank. I think, this is how desperate I was to score points. I'm charging. I think I'm charging bowmen in the open with light horse with an overlap. This is like the game's over. Just to see if we can get lucky. We're owed some stuff, and the Death Star's done well. Here they are, just rolling up the flank, turning into a flank, charging, chewing us over. Some very, very miserable samurai trooping over there, and it's just more of the same. Look, this is what 1, 2, 3. This is a 6, 7 unit wide block in the middle of our army, in which our only troops left are the.
On the plus side, our Horde doing well.
The Horde are are still not dead. Yeah, which is a bonus. There were the occasional, good spots.
I say it's like after that initial disaster, we started doing okay, and we started taking casualties, but
we were in
too many big holes.
Too many big holes. Literally, metaphorically, just an epic fail. And you've got a lot of Ashigaru in combat there against enemy impetuous swordsmen. It's just you're trying to knock some holes in, but same story here. That hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in the middle of our army. We've refused the centre.
Do you think the people listening have figured out how this game ended yet?
I think the game has ended. That's exactly how it ended. Where did they all go?
One thing that I've got to say, though, we did very, very well in this game is we did have
pretty tricky,
outrageously bad dice throws. To be honest, it was. But we mentioned that to them, but we didn't go on about it.
No, we didn't.
Because when people are, because you can have games where you're unlucky, and it really annoys me when
you can have games when you're lucky as well, can't you? Really,
you do precisely, exactly.
Yeah.
So rather than take the fun away from the person that's winning by whining, just let them enjoy their victory. And I think we did that.
I think we did. No, we whined about it in the car on the way
home.
We did. Of course we did. Yeah, that's what the car on the way home is for. So, but look, we never fielded the army. We never practiced with it. We didn't even receive it till 9:15 on the first day. We won 3.
Came third, joint second, actually.
Joint second, yeah, lost on count back. And I think they sort of perform like samurai. It's an interesting army. The elite bowmen, the swordsman thing, they fight well at close quarters. You don't get many of them. They're pretty scary, but it's narrow, and you've really got to ride your luck a bit because weight of numbers is never on your side.
It was a fun army to use. I think we used it well because our plan was that's where we're going to win. Yeah. Let's take risks to win there.
Actually, because it was sort of so small, because it was so small, it really forced you to have a plan.
Yeah.
You couldn't just shove stuff around and hope that something happened.
Mm-hmm.
You did need to have a plan to use your best troops.
Weak point push there. Oh my God, let's try and avoid combat there as long as possible.
And that, I think, tactically, game-wise, that block of 4 heavy infantry. You've got troops who do different things. You've got swordsmen who attack. You've got bow swordsmen who shoot and attack. You've got the faster moving cavalry who do cavalry stuff. But it made me realise that a block of 4 heavy infantry is actually quite a big
asset.
Yeah, it's quite a big asset. And if I think back to some of the games in Cardiff at Godendag, I think the third game against the Spanish, they had a block of 5 or 6 heavy infantry that. You look at it, you think it's only 6. It's not that wide, but that's a big old piece of terrain. And it's 6 wide. Even the overlaps, you can't really go past it. They're not big enough, and that really blocked terrain and bought us a lot of time in those games for the rest of the army to develop something. So that whole ADLG thing of trading time for space, it did work with this army because. You had kind of, almost Duplo-sized things.
Yeah.
They do this. They're going to be stodgy. These things move fast and attack. So I felt it lent itself to a style of play because it had several discrete components, and they're all quite lumpy components as well. It wasn't 1, 2, 3 units doing clever stuff. Here's 4 bowmen, here's 2 swordsmen. It was decent sized slabs.
It was fun to play with. I think we did quite well, but congratulations
to the winners, for picking a very, very good army. And tactically they did hang back on the right. They could have charged up the hill and maybe got beaten, and you've got to ride your luck, but it was a well put together army, well executed,
and they did exactly what they should have done with it. I couldn't fault the way they used it at all. I could just fault our dice, but would it have made a difference? It would have made it closer, but I think what could we have done differently? Not a lot with that terrain. Probably held back further. Well, what we could have done
push more on the cavalry.
What we could have done differently is instead of going with agricultural, going with mountains and difficult terrain, because then elephants.
If that was our choice, was that our choice though, or did they choose? They might have chosen. We defended. I think the attacker chooses. So. Maybe it wasn't our choice. I'm not sure. I can't remember either. But we needed terrain to break them up. That was the bit we didn't do. If they're going to have a line of unmaneuverable troops, we need some difficult terrain, some impassable terrain to break up their line and to sit a lot further back. But whereas they did the right thing, we might have been able to do it cleverer. But even so, good weekend, a good few beers, good curry.
Burton's always worth going to.
Burton's always worth going to. Good. Well,
and 4 good games.
Yeah. Well, and 5 or 6 decent beers. So, thank you very much, Adam.
For anyone that's still listening, thank you for listening.
Thank you for surviving to the end of it. Thank you very much. Good night.